Mel Kiper, credit to Mel Kiper. He is surging up my draft board. He refused to get the COVID shot. Mel Kiper refused to get the COVID shot because he probably, as a draft guy, looked at the data and said, wait a minute, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would I get the COVID shot? I've had COVID twice. I haven't gotten the COVID shot. I don't believe I'm ever going to get the COVID shot because I don't think it's beneficial. By the way, my family, my kids also have not gotten the COVID shot. So Mel Kiper, Disney has a mandate through ESPN that you have to get the COVID shot. And if you don't, that you theoretically are going to be fired. But Mel Kiper basically threw the double birds up at Disney. And as a result, they're letting him cover the NFL draft, but they're making him do it from home. Now, here's what's crazy about this. The NFL draft next week is in Las Vegas. It is wide open. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of people present in Las Vegas for the NFL draft. Why does this matter? Well, if none of them are wearing masks, and if there's no COVID requirement in terms of shots, why can't Mel Kiper be there? There are going to be hundreds of thousands of people present. This is an example of anti-science lunacy, okay? Also, Allison Williams was on with Dan Dakich. Dan Dakich does a great show for Outkick in the mornings. If you haven't checked it out, from 9 to 11 Eastern, 8 to 10 Central, 7 to 9 in the Mountain Time Zone, 6 to 8 on the West Coast. She was on as a guest, and she pointed out that she was basically fired by ESPN, Allison Williams was, because she refused to get the COVID shot. So wait a minute. Why did ESPN allow Mel Kiper to refuse to get the COVID shot and allow him to continue to be employed by ESPN, but they mandated that Allison Williams get the COVID shot or she got fired? Is this fair from Disney? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Now, Allison Williams now works at the Daily Wire. She's smart. She laid out the decision why she didn't get the COVID shot. I agree with her on all of her logic. I think it's far braver to stand up and refuse to get the COVID shot than it is to bend over backwards for a medical treatment you don't need. But why did Mel Kiper, and by the way, I'm anti-mandate. I think that Disney's perspective should have been what Fox's position was, which is we're not mandated to get the shot, right? I did not get the COVID shot. And for months, I wasn't allowed to go into the New York City radio studio or to the Fox News studio in New York City because of the idiot rules of New York City as it pertains to COVID shots, right? So I wasn't allowed to go in there. By the way, that's just a good excuse not to have to travel to New York City. I'm not going to complain about it. But I do think it's significant. Fox allowed individual talent, to their credit, to make decisions about whether or not to get the COVID shot. Disney didn't. And Disney, it appears, arbitrarily made Allison Williams get the shot or she was fired versus allowing Mel Kiper to not get the shot and not force him to be fired. Now, that doesn't seem fair to me. Again, I'm against all mandates, but why would Allison Williams get fired and why would Mel Kiper keep his job? Again, Mel Kiper rising up my draft board based on this decision. Allison Williams, I've already given her a great deal of praise for making that decision, having the bravery to make that decision. But why is Disney not having to answer, ESPN in particular, why those two employees were treated so drastically different based on the decisions they made as it pertains to COVID? I think that's a question that should have to be asked. Certainly, it's one that we're asking here at Outkick.